post it on like a different platform for people to see behind the scenes type stuff. Just us having conversation and stuff like that. Wifey brought me through a couple of those original pain points, but could you just, so I could get it straight directly from the source, remind me a little bit about, some of the things that you would like to see improvement on?
So when I'm with him at home, this dog gets walked more than any dog I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I saw one of your stepdaughter, right?
Yeah,
I saw her walk.
She walks him to the gas station
Yeah.
once a day. During the summer, there's 4 kids at the house, so they're rotating who he takes them out.
Let's do this while we talk. Place, Bubba. Good boy. Steady. It's good. You could just relax while we have convo. Steady.
So he's good with the older girls.
Nope.
Back.
Good.
It's the 2 babies. So at the house, he's fine. He's potty trained.
I'm listening.
He likes to take my wife's sandals. No, for whatever reason, my wife's. He likes my wife's sandals and my little boy's shoes. And
Oh, okay.
he used to destroy them. Now he takes them and hides them behind the couch like a little game, and then they go and chase him. And I tell him, like, you gotta stop chasing, you gotta correct it when he grabs it. But they don't like to put him in the cage when they're not paying attention to him. Then they forget. They'll run upstairs to go do something, and then their kids will get distracted. So before you know it, he's downstairs for an hour and a half while I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
And there's shoes missing, sandals missing, or he'll get into something.
And that's kind of annoying.
It's super annoying, so the wife gets upset.
Well, you know what I'm going to say about that. Like, right?
It's their fault.
Well, yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, you have a young dog. These are the types of things that you could just expect out of a young dog. And so, like, really, you just have to sort of reflect and be like, okay, well, if it annoys me that much that he's taken what he perceives to be toys and playing with them, then I got to put him in a kennel if I'm not watching him.
Exactly.
But there's work that could be done, like, if he's out of the kennel, like, like, it's all right. He'll self-correct, watch. But that's good too. That's why I have the tie back just long enough to where right when he gets off, he's going to feel the end of the leash, and then he's just going to kind of go right back. This way, like, if I didn't have that set up, I would have to physically do that myself. You know what I'm saying? So this is just like, this is gold. Nobody does this. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got a stud or in a room, for me, like, this is just like the perfect practice if I'm doing computer work and, like, the dog's chilling away from me. This also helps with, like, dogs not feeling like they always have to be up your ass.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I have my moments and but it's just like not always, bro.
Yep.
And I could always tell the dogs that come here that have like real gnarly separation anxiety symptoms. And a lot of the time, I would have to say maybe even most of the time, separation anxiety symptoms come about by way of like they learn that shit. Most dogs don't come with anxiety. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's something that developed because they never learned to survive on their own. And that's all this provides. And just an opportunity to relax. So typically, like, I'll party with them. We'll do like a session, which we'll get to that. Work his ass, so that when I come in here and ask him to just do nothing, I don't really feel so bad about like making a pent up dog chill. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
And the sessions aren't long, dude. Like, my sessions with him are like 1 meal's worth of food. And that takes me 5 to 10 minutes. And again, we're going to go through just like an average session. But it's like, all right, cool, I worked his ass. Now it's time to chill. Work your ass, time to chill. And that's just for me like this like really fine-tuned balance that I'm looking for, where I'm working towards like this desirable dog, but I'm doing it in a space where I'm trying to help him and me. It's like a both. It's like a both thing,
find our working relationship.
Yeah. So it's like, and during the work, you'll see he enjoys it. He's food driven. He's pretty eager. He's a young, happy-go-lucky dog. So like we have that moments of like party time, and then come chill time. So that's just that in itself. I know like the average pet dog owner kind of goes through their life with their dog relatively aimless in reference to like a structure or a routine, and then they tend to expect certain things but the curriculum really isn't in order, and it's nothing too overly complicated if you ask me. There's a little nuance to it or whatever, but I think like ultimately at the end of the day, it's like, am I spending 5 to 10 constructive minutes per day working?
Quality minutes.
You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. It's
Quality.
like, that's why I always think about this concept. Like these people have had their dogs for 3-4 years, and they're struggling as a result of what I believe to be most of the time just like relationship issues. And I produce myself with their dog in 3 weeks a better relationship than they did in 3 years. And then I think about what's the difference there, and then it's just the way that we live together. There's like a thing to it, and with over there.
Same thing with 4 kids in the house.
Yeah, you got a lot more than just a dog to worry about. Yeah,
If
like
I don't give enough attention to each kid, where it's affectionate and it's personable, then I know they're gonna be out doing something. And this is that's what we tell with the dog. Like, hey, you're gonna spend time with him. Spend time with him. If he's doing something right, reward him.
like right now, like I've just sort of rewarded calm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of doing this, and we're having these moments so that maybe you just mentally take notes. Like, what did we do while we were there? You know, just really cool stuff like this. I'm not going to feed him his whole meal here. This would just be a little bit. And then, so this is, because he ran out of food, I've been feeding him, this is my personal dog's food. So thanks for bringing that. Hasn't upset his stomach or anything like that. But in any case, okay, so I don't know if you watched the video that we sent over. Oh, okay, so you already know kind of a little bit of, I just kind of wanted to like show you this system. It's similar, and that's not a bad collar. I'm just unfamiliar with it. And
we didn't, it came, so he got to do some military classes, like beginner puppy ones. He came back with it, and they're like, just keep it, don't worry.
How old is he again?
He's 1 year, 1 month.
Okay. Yeah, they probably rocked and roll with an e-collar a little too early in the game, in my opinion. But neither here nor there. We're basically just gonna like redo things now.
Yeah, and I only use it when we have people at the house to keep him like with me, and so that way he can be around people, get comfortable with little kids. And that's where I can correct from not being with him tied to a leash, because he's usually really good with the house with kids. He gets the excitement when everybody gets there. And then he'll just hang out with us, and he's just there.
That sounds like a pretty good setup.
So
I mean,
that's how we've been using it. We don't use it on walks anymore because he's great on the leash with me.
Yeah.
He'll get excited, and if he disappears, it's bringing him back. So we use it for the recalls. How we've been using it.
Perfect. Yeah, I typically introduce these things in more of like a teach it to be the gas pedal before I teach it to be the brakes type of thing. So like, I basically will like go through, you know, obedience stuff, really simple stuff, get him going in like patterns, and then we layer this sucker in with low level technology just to like sort of introduce it in sort of like a positive format where it's like he wants to follow the pressure. So like with recall stuff, it's tap, 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 tap all the way till he gets to me, and then he gets paid. You watch the video. So that's all we're doing. For me, I'm big on using this like largely in part for off leash type stuff. So you don't have to necessarily have your leash, just like you're talking about. So that's cool. That's cool.
And that is my ultimate goal.
Yeah, yeah. And if it's working, with, you know, if the kids, my first thing, if it's the kids involved, I'm always having a conversation with them, because my thing is like, if you want the dog to be calm around your kids, you got to teach the kids to be calm around the dog.
Yes.
And it's super unfair to him if the kids are losing their mind and you're over here blasting on him. You know what I mean? It's like, of course he's going to be losing his mind. But if the kids were being chill, like I had asked them to, and he's still losing his mind, I could still give him a little bit of a reminder, hey, chill for a second. But for me, I personally would have the dog on the leash to start, and the e-collar on, and then after that initial fucking high level, because that initial thing is going to be like the highest level of it.
Yeah, that's the peak.
Do you know what I'm saying? And so like it would be on leash, so he didn't even have a chance to rehearse behaviors of losing his mind. So like with the e-collar, he may get over there and he's already practicing this shit and rehearsing this shit. With the leash, you kind of don't even let him get to that stage. Does that make sense?
Blocking it.
So it's the same thing with reactivity, and dogs reactive in the car and all these things. we're just like doing our best to like keep the dog from practicing that same shit. So like in that context, if you're asking me, it's on a leash. We all chill and we're going about our business now. Pop him off the leash. He still has the e-collar on. So now it's like that initial shit's gone and I can still like communicate to him fairly. You know what I'm saying?
I agree
So,
with
but in any case, it's similar in that you turn, that one, it was weird. It was like I couldn't turn the damn thing off.
You couldn't get it to connect, I saw.
Well, it's that too, but it's like I would, so now it's on. This is just a magnet, and it's that little red dot. So it's very similar to turn it on and off. It'll be blinking. This one will be blinking green. And to turn the remote on, you would just like look at the on and off button there.
Okay.
You just like press that button and hold it, and then that sucker comes on. And then this particular system goes up to 100, but like we're never really training at high levels like that. You know, for him, I'm like level 9, level 10, like at like our base level. And then like in the event that there's something that comes about that's like overly, you know, he's like having an extra hard time, he's like highly stimulated, we may have to just kind of turn it up just a little bit. And I've been using this system so long that I'm not necessarily always looking down at the number. I'll start at like his base, and then like, oh, he's not coming at that normal one because it's a squirrel. I'll slowly turn without even looking, and then I'm like, ooh, I got my result. What number is it? That type of situation. And this is something, in the event that you guys want to kind of switch, you could sell that one for a good price because it's a decent one, and get one of these if that's what you wanted.
Okay.
I prefer these, definitely. Yeah, you could sell it and get some money back out of it. This is my personal dog system. I have another brand new one there. In the event that you did want to grab one, I get them for like $150 or something like that. They're normally like $200, but anyway, I always want to like check the system too, and I just like basically you want to just like put it on there and squeeze. Are you feeling the touch points?
No, I am.
You're feeling a little. Let me see. Put it like on your, like right there, yeah. You don't feel anything?
Not yet.
Let me see. Just squeeze a little harder, maybe.
Okay, there you go.
So describe that. Is that like you're being electrocuted, or is that kind of like just a little boop, boop?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like when you get chills almost.
Yeah. So it's the same technology. It's the same exact technology as like the stim you get if you're an athlete. They put the things on you.
The TENS units.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's literally the same technology. So it's not like I do this because I want my clients to know what their dog is feeling. And also, you know, maybe make a little video to like describe to the people like the dog's not being like hurt by this.
No, we had our kids do the same thing.
You know, especially like at the lower levels. But in any case, the importance of, so it's on. You saw how we turned that on. Boom, this is on. We leave it at like a level 10. We put that in your mitt and kind of get a feel for it. I use my index and my thumb to turn the knob up and down. Hey, Papa. Yeah, it's a guy. So I like to make sure that this sucker's got good touch points. Obviously, those touch points of death are like much too long for him.
I think that's why we don't use it that much, because you can tell he's uncomfortable.
So it's just got to be on tight enough to where the touch points are actually good. And when it's all said and done, steady. When it's all steady, it's all said and done, I'll count the buttons off for you so you know exactly where it needs to be. And then just as also, since we're already here, as an additional example, it's all right. Hey, place. Good, steady. Nope. Good. Where's that food? Let me see. I'm going to do one quick little demo. Just stuff to work on. Sit. Good. So what I do is I put it at the working level. This black button is the only one we press.
What is the red one?
It goes to my other collar. I have a 2-dog system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart. I was like,
Yeah, because I got 2 dogs. Well, I have 3 dogs, and I could probably program this to 3 dogs, but I just haven't done that. And I have 2 that stay in here with me, and then I have 1 that I constantly keep out there because she's my working dog too. But what I do particularly if I'm working obedience and stuff is I'll tie in the sensation to like verbal commands, meaning I press the button and say the command at the same time. So I'm just layering in a sensation to the verbal, and then you'll see, you kind of get like an expedited version of his performance. He's like, okay, like you get it kind of a little bit quicker. Papa, come here, sit. So down, good. So I say down, and I tap, and then if I want to work on his duration, I'll kind of just give him multiple feeds while he's in the down. And then just for the sake of this like particular little drill that I like to do, I'll unhook him from the tie back, and then I'll free, let him go get it. Smokey, place. I tapped it and said place. Good. Give him food. Down. Good. I don't press it on the free, but on the way back, Smokey, place. Tapped it and said place. Good. Smokey, sit. Smokey, down. So I'm tapping it after every time Does that make sense?
Yes.
Has anybody ever taught you that before?
No.
Okay, cool.
I got told the opposite.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, well.
Correction use only.
Oh, correction use only?
Yes, sir.
That's mortifying.
That's why we stopped.
Go ahead. Free. Good boy. Smokey. Hey, place. Good. Sit down. Isn't that magical?
Yes.
It's very good. Okay, now your turn. So go ahead and stand right here. Grab a piece of food and throw it and say free.
Free.
It's okay, he gets it.
Free.
So don't press it on the free. Say Smokey, place, and press
Smokey,
it.
place.
Good.
Sit.
Good. Tap it and say down.
Down. Good.
Pay him.
Boy.
Good. Give him a couple feeds. Awesome. Awesome.
Watch. Good boy.
Okay, come back up slowly. Grab another piece of food.
Free.
Yes. Good boy. Tap and say place.
Smokey, place.
Sit.
Sit.
Down. Good. That's really good.
Good boy.
That's really good. So I would recommend steering away from over physical celebration right now if your goal was to keep him in that position.
Okay.
If you overly celebrate with that physical, that might entice him to break the thing that you, does that make sense? So you can just, to reward, you're happy with that. That's why you're doing that. But I'm thinking about what my goal is. I want him to stay in that position. If I over celebrate with physical, that might entice him and make him think to pop right out of it. So the reward is the good verbal marker. Good, pay, good, pay. That's your way of, showing him that he's doing the thing that you love without enticing him to pop off. Does that make sense? So that's just one little sequence that you can do to really set like a nice foundation for obedience, and tying that into it, because that is like, I love the e-collar, but it's sad to me to think that, people are teaching it to use it only as the brakes, because I don't want him to have a negative association to this thing. I want to teach it in a format to where he wants to follow that pressure. And that's why we're tying that into, he gets something in the end. Does that make sense? So he performs by feeling it, but, oh man, I feel that. I know I'm getting paid right afterwards. So that's how we teach it to be the gas pedal. Mm-hmm. Go towards it, and now we're conditioned to it. We've taught it fairly. Now I could start thinking about using it as the brake pedal. Does that make sense? So it's a more fair and efficient, and I would, in the end, I would say it's more appropriate and more along the lines of a strategy that kind of leans into like, I love my dog, dude. I'm not trying to just have him feel like he's got a fist hovering over his fucking shoulder the entire time. Exactly. I don't want to like overcorrect the shit out of him. Like, this is just a much better way to do it, in my opinion. Now, the one thing that dog trainers can agree on is that they don't agree on shit. Dog trainers are always bickering back and forth about stuff. Those days for me, have a seat, brother. Those days for me are kind of like long gone. The fact that he stayed put there is like a rewardable deal. You know, like he saw you go over there, and you being you, the owner, is very distracting because he's so stoked to.
He's so fascinated.
Yeah,
Or
so like,
on it.
so, and he's still, brother, it's such a young guy, you know, but this is the age where I do very much so start working like his impulse control a little bit more, and start expecting a little bit more out of him, because I just sent home a 6-month-old boxer, and it's like, for me, it's such a young creature. It's like, I feel like impulse control is something that we like slowly and gradually build up towards. It's not something that I'm gonna make a 6-month-old like toddler puppy stay for an hour. You know what I mean?
Right, no,
It's very,
adolescent time.
yeah. It's like asking, like, you have kids, bro. You ain't gonna get them suckers to sit still when they're a certain age. You got to keep, you know what I'm saying? But then as they start to age, and you're like, hey man, I could expect a little more out of you now. You know what I'm saying? And that the age thing is different. Obviously, dog's age is like, one, dude, he's about to be a teenager. You know, two, he's a teenager. So it's a little different, like, obviously, but he's such a good boy. And like, another thing I'd like to point out, and I'll send you this video to kind of refer back to, is the incremental, like, switch up the timing of the payments. So, like, at the beginning, where the dog's struggling to sit or stay or be down, I'll pay like a lot in a row just to get him to stay there. And then as he starts to develop a little more ability and more skill, I'll wait a little longer in between payments. And this is where the slot machine effect comes into play. You're sitting at the slot machine, you're like waiting for that fucking jackpot, dude. You're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So like, all the while he's performing the damn thing, you know? So pretty cool little concept, right?
No, I agree with it.
Yeah, dude. Like, I use tools, I use prong collars. I'm gonna go get you a different prong collar. You can obviously keep, and that'll be on the house. I'll just throw that in there for your support. Yeah, it's such a good motherfucker, dude. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like just the tool usage thing. You know, a lot of people that don't know any better about the tool thing, and they never really heard, you know, somebody who uses tools like really specifically describe these things, they have like a really bad connotation and negative thought process, because they've never really even given someone the chance to explain, you know, how they use it. And then, you know, you got guys like whoever you learn from. That's the thing that gives us a bad look, you know. It's like we're not all like barbarians with our tool usage. It always, for me, is like very appropriate to the dog, right? Like, he's a doodle, young, full of it, but like, doodles generally have a specific temperament. And the way that I sort of gauge temperament is like how well they can handle, you know, physical pressure with prong collar, e-collar. Softer temperamented dogs like doodles, it's like you have to understand their temperament to know how much pressure you can appropriately put on them. Different to like my dog. I got bulldogs, like they're fucking strong-willed, stubborn sons of bitches, and they could handle more pressure and just like, that didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? While if you give the same correction that you give to my bulldogs to a doodle, he's hitting the deck just all fucking tweaked out. Like, I'm not trying to go there with it. I'm trying to just enough him. That's what I say. It's team just enough, bro. I'm trying to give him enough to where he understands in that moment, because the timing was right, and I didn't overdo it or I didn't underdo it. And that just comes with like learning your dog, you know what I'm saying? And that's where the value comes with, you know, coming to a guy like myself who, that's the way I fucking strategize it, so that I can tell you exactly like how much pressure to put on him before it becomes inappropriate. So I take the guesswork out of it for you. Well, so you're like, oh, okay, now I know I'm not being a dick, and I'm still getting my result.
It's the same way talking to my kids. I can yell at one and I can't yell at the other.
Yeah.
I'll break down.
There's certainly comparisons to like, you know, dogs and children. But then, you know, we obviously always talk about how like actually humanizing and like babying a dog turns out to be detrimental in the end. So I think it's interesting, and it's very nuanced. And I've never really been too, you know, fancy about descriptions and stuff. Like, I'm very like layman's term kind of guy. That's, you know, there's other trainers out there that can really explain things a little bit better than I can. But we've been effective in teaching people and helping people and trying to keep.
Hello.
Come on in.
Hi, how are you
Nice to
guys?
finally meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you in person. Just need to know whose status here, so I can discharge him. I just need to know where his stuff is, or
Yeah.
stuff. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.